Most Canadians bank with one of the country's big five banks: RBC, TD, CIBC, Scotiabank, and BMO. And many of them will have chosen to get one of the bank's travel credit cards as part of the overall banking package. But how exactly do the travel credit cards of the big five banks compare? Which ones are the best? And should you consider changing to a different bank's product? It's time for a big five bank face-off to find the answers. Now, we're going to talk about the premium travel credit cards roughly in descending order in terms of how compelling the products are. Starting with RBC. Canada's largest bank also has what I consider to be the strongest travel credit cards, and I'll tell you why. RBC's primary line of premium travel credit cards is the Avion series. The main product is the Avion Visa Infinite, which is accompanied by the Avion Visa Platinum for those with incomes lower than $60,000 per year, as well as the Avion Infinite Privilege for those with incomes higher than $200,000 per year. Now, the reason that I think that Avion is so strong is that it's the only one of the points programs by the big five banks themselves that has the ability to transfer points out to a variety of different frequent flyer programs. You can transfer your Avion points to British Airways Avios, Cathay Pacific Asia Miles, and WestJet Rewards at a 1-to-1 ratio, as well as American Airlines Advantage at a ratio of 1 to 0.7. No other big five banks programs allow you to transfer points out to different frequent flyer programs at a good ratio. And what's more, RBC often puts on transfer bonuses of 20 to 50%, allowing you to earn even more frequent flyer miles on the other side of the transfer. And besides offering the RBC Avion card and points, RBC also goes one step further and has dedicated co-branded credit cards with many of these frequent flyer programs as well. These are the RBC British Airways card, the RBC Cathay Pacific card, and the RBC WestJet World Elite MasterCard. And each of these cards has a very nice sign-up bonus to give you a healthy amount of points in their respective programs as well. Now, of course, we could go into more detail on every one of these programs, and I'll likely do so in future videos, but just to give you a bit of a summary for now, British Airways Avios is very good for short-haul flights around the world on oneworld partners. Cathay Pacific Asia Miles is super useful for traveling to and from Asia, and WestJet dollars are very useful for flying domestically or to the United States on WestJet flights. So as you can see, RBC has a very generous suite of sign-up bonuses, both in terms of their own Avion points, which can be transferred out to those programs, and directly with the frequent flyer programs as well. And RBC is also very generous about consistently letting you get the sign-up bonus on all their products. So if you don't have an RBC card already, I'd strongly consider getting one. But if I'm being honest, all of those frequent flyer programs that partner with RBC are somewhat useful in some situations, but not quite as generally useful across the board as what I consider to be the best program for Canadians, which is Aeroplan. And that's why we need to also talk about TD is the primary credit card issuer for the Aeroplan loyalty program in Canada, and it offers the TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite as its flagship card. Now, the specific sign-up bonus on this card tends to vary from quarter to quarter, but you can generally pick up 20,000 to 30,000 miles from it, and there are often first-year free promotions as well. The TD Aeroplan products are very compelling, offering additional perks like free checked bags, priority boarding, and one-time Maple Leaf Lounge access when flying on an Aeroplan issued ticket on Air Canada. And if you're interested in taking international trips in business class, which is Aeroplan's bread and butter, then you're definitely going to want to get the TD Aeroplan card to top up your balance. But we should also talk about TD's very own TD Rewards program, which is associated with TD's other premium travel card, the First Class Travel Visa Infinite. This card often advertises huge sign-up bonuses of 60,000 to 90,000 points, but the truth is that TD Rewards points are only worth about half a cent per point at most. When you earn TD Rewards points, you have the option of redeeming them through a service called Expedia for TD, which is basically an online portal that lets you book anything on Expedia.ca at a rate of $1 equals 2 TD rewards points, or 0.5 cents per point. So if you were to earn the sign-up bonus of 90,000 TD rewards points on the first class travel visa, that would be worth $450 of travel booked through Expedia for TD. Note that the fact that you must redeem through Expedia for TD is a bit of a limitation, because not everything can or should always be booked through Expedia. So in my opinion, the TD Aeroplan cards is definitely the better choice out of the two. And also TD is very generous about letting you collect the sign-up bonus consistently, usually as long as it's been at least 6 months since your last sign-up bonus, as per the terms and conditions. The next best Big Five bank in terms of their credit card bonuses, in my opinion, is CIBC. CIBC has a wide suite of credit cards, all with pretty good bonuses that are well worth your attention after you've finished with the stronger credit cards out there. First of all, CIBC is the secondary card issuer for the Aeroplan loyalty program. They used to be the primary one until TD took over the contract in 2014. And their Aeroplan branded cards are known as the Personal and Business Aero Gold cards. Similar to the TD cards, you can often earn sign-up bonuses of 20,000 to 30,000 Aeroplan miles, and they often come with first-year free waivers as well, or otherwise with some sort of gift card to offset the first year's annual fee. But because CIBC doesn't have the main contract with Aeroplan, they tend to advertise these cards less prominently, and instead focus on pushing their own Aventura card products to the general public. One of the best ways to use your Aventura points is through the CIBC Aventura Travel Redemption Chart. Your Aventura points will cover a certain maximum ticket price when traveling to a certain part of the world, and then on top of that, you just need to pay any additional difference in terms of the fare, as well as any taxes and fees to redeem for a flight. Now, there are a few downsides to this redemption option, one of which is that the taxes and fees to anywhere outside of North America will likely be extremely high, and also that the CIBC Aventura chart is only valid for economy class flights and not for business or first class. So that's where the alternative of collecting Aeroplan miles instead really shines through. Honestly, I collect a fair bit of Aventura points, but I often find myself running out of ideas for how to redeem them, and then I'll simply use them at 1 cent per point towards random trips here or there, or even I'll do crazy things like redeeming them for merchandise. I know, who even am I, right? Okay, it was a Black Friday sale and the miles were expiring, okay? Leave me alone. So I've noticed that lots of CIBC clients out there have an Aventura product of some sort, maybe the Aventura Visa Infinite or the Aventura Gold card. And yes, it's flexible. It lets you book mostly what you want when you want. But if you're looking to travel in greater style and to far-flung international destinations, then switching to an Aeroplan card might be your best bet. Here's a little tip for CIBC cards. If you apply for cards at your CIBC branch, they can use and reuse the same credit inquiry once every 90 days. So you can potentially load up on several CIBC card products using only one credit hit. Next up, Scotiabank. Unlike RBC, TD, and CIBC, Scotiabank doesn't partner up with any frequent flyer programs, instead only allowing you to earn their in-house Scotia Rewards points. So this somewhat limits the usefulness of their credit cards, but at the same time, Scotiabank's cards are very unique among the big five banks, and you'll see why very soon. Scotiabank's major travel credit cards are the Scotiabank Gold American Express and the Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite, with a few variants of these cards for low-income earners, big shots, and business owners as well. Now, Scotiabank is a very forward-thinking issuer, and there are a few eye-catching things about these credit cards that the other big five banks just haven't experimented with so far. For example, the Scotia Gold Amex is the only big five bank card to offer a 5x earning category. It'll give you 5 Scotia rewards points per dollar spent on groceries, dining, and entertainment. The other groundbreaking change that Scotiabank introduced a few years ago was the elimination of the 2.5% foreign exchange fee from most of their premium travel credit cards. It's pretty annoying that most Canadian credit cards seem to have the 2.5% FX fee, even on travel credit cards, which, you would think that they would have no fee so you could use it when you're traveling. So the fact that Scotiabank moved to eliminate this fee certainly won many customers over. Now the question is, on all these cards, you're earning Scotia rewards points. And what are those points good for? Well, the bad news is that they're only good for redeeming against travel purchases at 1 cent per point, so you can't really get higher than the baseline value of 1 cent per point out of these points. However, the good news, and this is very significant in my opinion, is that you don't have to go through any sort of in-house travel agency or online portal to redeem your points. Instead, you can simply charge any travel purchase to your card, and then you can redeem the Scotia rewards points against that purchase retroactively. So if I got the sign-up bonus of 30,000 points on the Scotia Gold Amex, I could just go out there and buy $300 worth of travel, whether that's, flights, hotels, car rentals, vacation packages, what have you, and then I would simply go on my Scotia dashboard and offset the charge using my points. In fact, Scotia rewards points is arguably the only way to redeem points for things like cruises, Airbnbs, train tickets, or ferries, which is stuff that you'd ordinarily only be able to pay with cash and not with points. Scotia rewards are basically as good as cash in that regard, and so even though they don't partner with any of the frequent flyer programs, if I had to choose one of the big 5 banks' in-house currencies to earn, I'd probably choose Scotiabank. Finally, we have Bank of Montreal. And guys, I don't want to be harsh, but I think BMO's got a little bit of catching up to do when it comes to their travel credit cards. Their flagship products are the BMO World Elite, which allows you to earn BMO rewards points, as well as the BMO Air Miles World Elite, which lets you earn air miles instead. And unfortunately, it can be a little more difficult to extract value out of both of these programs. BMO rewards points can be redeemed towards the cost of travel at a rather perplexing ratio of 140 points equals $1. The challenge though is that in order to redeem your BMO rewards points, you gotta go through the BMO online portal. And again, not everything can be booked through the BMO portal. And furthermore, you never actually know if you're getting the best price through the BMO portal either. There's been multiple instances where the price of a flight or a hotel through the BMO portal was actually a few $100 more expensive than through Expedia or something like that. If you choose to apply for the Air Miles version of the card, you could potentially get better returns, but it's still not going to be a world beater. Air miles are a very popular currency in Canada, but in my opinion, they're nowhere near the most useful since they can sometimes be redeemed for decent value for expensive short-haul tickets or things like car rentals, mid-tier hotels, or Disney World park tickets. But the fact of the matter is, if you have aspirations to travel far and wide and to treat yourself to things like business class flights and fancy hotels at a very low price point, then you'll be able to do that with RBC, TD, and CIBC's credit cards, but not really with BMO's cards. So I'd love to see some improvement from BMO in the future in terms of their travel credit cards so that they can give their fellow Big 5 banks some better competition. So that's my take on what the picture looks like in terms of the Big 5 banks' credit cards in Canada. RBC has a very wide range of strong frequent flyer partners. TD and CIBC are very much worth your attention because of the partnership with Aeroplan. Scotiabank has the most flexible fixed points travel currency out there, and BMO still has a little bit of value in their cards, but they definitely have more work to do if they want to capture a wider range of travelers as their clientele. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the Prince of Travel YouTube channel. Just click the subscribe button below the video. And hey, let me know in the comments which one of the Big 5 banks you're with at the moment, how you're feeling about the travel credit cards, and whether you're gonna stick with it or switch to a different bank. I'll see you in the next video. Aventura!